And good morning. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. Website is www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to the Morning Mindset, where I'll be reading from Think and Grow Rich, pages 81 through 85, and we will follow with discussion of those whoever wants to jump into the open seat and discussion in the comments section. Let's get started, shall we? At the bottom of page 81, with this changed world, which began at the end of the economic collapse, came also astounding changes in educational requirements. The order of the day is specialization. This truth was emphasized by Robert P. Moore, Secretary of Appointments of Columbia University. Specialists most sought. Particularly sought after by employing companies are candidates who have specialized in some field. Business school graduates with training in accounting and statistics, engineers of all varieties, journalists, architects, chemists, and also outstanding leaders and activity men of the senior class. The man who has been active on the campus, whose personality is such that he gets along with all kinds of people, and who has done an adequate job with his study has a most decided edge over the strictly academic student. Some of these, because of their all-around qualifications, have received several offers of positions, a few of them as many as 6. In departing from the conception that the straight-A student was invariably the one to get the choice of the better jobs, Mr. Moore said that most companies look not only to academic records, but to activity records and personalities of the students. One of the largest industrial companies, the leader in its field, in writing to Mr. Moore concerning prospective seniors at the college, says, "We are interested primarily in finding men who can make exceptional progress in management work. For this reason, we emphasize qualities of character, intelligence, and personality, far more than specific educational background." Apprenticeship proposed. Proposing a system of apprenticing students in offices, stores, and industrial occupations during the summer vacation, Mr. Moore asserts that after the first 2 or 3 years of college, every student should be asked to choose a definite future course and to call a halt if he has been merely pleasantly drifting without purpose through an unspecialized academic curriculum. Colleges and universities must face the practical consideration that all professions and occupations now demand specialists, he said, urging that educational institutions accept more direct responsibility for vocational guidance. One of the most reliable and practical sources of knowledge available to those who need specialized schooling is the night schools operated in most large cities. The correspondence schools give specialized training anywhere in the U.S. mail goes, on all subjects that can be taught by the extension method. One advantage of home study training is the flexibility of the study program, which permits one to study during spare time. Another stupendous advantage of home study training, if the school is carefully chosen, is the fact that most courses offered by home study schools carry with them generous privileges of consultation, which can be of priceless value to those needing specialized knowledge. No matter where you live, you can share the benefits. Anything acquired without effort and without cost is generally unappreciated, often discredited. Perhaps this is why we get so little from our marvelous opportunity in public schools. The self-discipline one receives from a definite program of specialized study makes up to some extent for the wasted opportunity when knowledge was available without cost. Correspondence schools are highly organized business institutions. Their tuition fees are so low that they are forced to insist upon prompt payment. Being asked to pay whether the student makes good grades or poor has the effect of causing one to follow through with the course when he would otherwise drop it. The correspondence schools have not stressed this point sufficiently, for the truth is that their collection departments constitute the very finest sort of training on decision, promptness, action, and the habit of finishing that which one begins. I learned from this experience more than 25 years ago. I enrolled for a home study course in advertising. After completing 8 or 10 lessons, I stopped studying, but the school did not stop sending me bills. Moreover, it insisted upon payment, whether I kept up my studies or not. I decided that if I had to pay for the course, which I had legally obligated myself to do, I should complete the lessons and get my money's worth. I felt at the time that the collection system of the school was somewhat too well organized, but I learned later in life that it was a valuable part of my training for which no charge had been made. Being forced to pay, I went ahead and completed the course. Later in life, I discovered that the efficient collection system of that school had been worth much in the form of money earned because of the training and advertising I had so reluctantly taken. We have in this country what is said to be the greatest public school system in the world. We have invested fabulous sums for fine buildings. We have provided convenient transportation for children living in the rural districts, so they may attend the best schools. But there is one astounding weakness to this marvelous system. It is free. One of the strange things about human beings is that they value only that which has a price. The free schools of America and the free public libraries do not impress people because they are free. This is the major reason why so many people find it necessary to acquire additional training after they quit school and go to work. It is also one of the major reasons why employers give greater consideration to employees who take home study courses. They have learned from experience that any person who has the ambition to give up a part of his spare time to studying at home has in him those qualities which make for leadership. This recognition is not a charitable gesture. It is sound business judgment upon the part of the employers. There is one weakness in people for which there is no remedy. It is the universal weakness of lack of ambition. Persons, especially salaried people, who schedule their spare time to provide for home study seldom remain at the bottom very long. Their action opens the way for the upward climb, removes many obstacles from their path, and gains the friendly interest of those who have the power to put them in the way of opportunity. The home study method of training is especially suited to the needs of employed people who find after leaving school that they must acquire additional specialized knowledge but can't spare the time to go back to school. The changed economic conditions prevailing since the Depression have made it necessary for thousands of people to find additional or new sources of income. For the majority of these, the solution to their problem may be found only by acquiring specialized knowledge. Many will be forced to change their occupations entirely. When a merchant finds that a certain line of merchandise is not selling, he usually supplants it with another that is in demand. The person whose business is that of marketing personal services must also be an efficient merchant. If his services do not bring adequate returns in one occupation, he must change to another, where broader opportunities are available. Stuart Austin Weir prepared himself as a construction engineer and followed this line of work until the Depression limited his market to where it did not give him the income he required. He took inventory of himself, decided to change his profession to law, went back to school, and took special courses by which he prepared himself as a corporation lawyer. Despite the fact that the Depression had not ended, he completed his training, passed the bar examination, and quickly built a lucrative law office in Dallas, Texas. In fact, he's turning away clients. Just to keep the record straight, and to anticipate the alibis of those who will say, I couldn't go to school because I have a family to support, or I'm too old, I will add the information that Mr. Weir was past 40 and married when he went back to school. Moreover, by carefully selecting highly specialized courses in colleges best prepared to teach the subjects chosen, Mr. Weir completed in 2 years the work for which the majority of law students require 4 years. It pays to know how to purchase knowledge. The person who stops studying merely because he has finished school is forever hopelessly doomed to mediocrity, no matter what may be his calling. The way of success is the way of continuous pursuit of knowledge. I am going to stop there because I think that's a great place to stop. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you, Sabrina. Thank you so much for sharing a Google link. I'm not sure what link that is because I use a shortened link, but that's cool. Tracy, welcome. Han. Ha. I hope that I'm saying that correctly. It's ha and not hey. Syed, good to see you. Daryl, welcome. The seat is open for anybody that would like to jump in and join me in a discussion.
Well, I'll join you if nobody else will.
Good morning, Sabrina. Let's get Mike in here too.
Coffee.
Good morning, Mike.
I have a small cup here. Just a small one.
It is. Yeah, just the soup bowl. Good morning, Sean.
And there's Sean.
That's my big cup.
Yes, I know your big cup. All right, so here's the PDF that I've been sharing. I know that Sabrina shared a link earlier. That was terrific. Thank you. Monty.
Apparently it's the view link.
Continued education is crucial. I appreciate that chapter validating why specialized training matters. Yes, Monty. Yes, my thoughts exactly. Welcome, Brian. All right, Sabrina, your thoughts?
I think a little bit of this kind of rolls back to what we were talking about yesterday. The fact that even in the things that we do, you need to charge. There isn't any value, or there's no perceived value in things that are free. And so therefore people don't put any effort into them. So even for us that are offering services to people, there has to be a fee involved of some kind. I mean, I know that I spend a fortune on stuff every month online. And because I spend for it, most of it I end up using. I might overspend a little and not use it all, but for the most part, I use it because I paid for it. The free stuff I never get back to.
What about you, Mike?
I was just gonna say that with free, I tend to see it kind of a little bit different than Sabrina. Not completely with regards to providing actual services. If you're actually providing work for somebody, yeah, charge for it. But I know I've seen some things where I'll put them on my website and they're free with no, give me your email address or any of that type of stuff. And I look at the conversion as far as the amount of people that are actually clicking on the link and downloading whatever it is I have to offer. And then I'll put the same thing up with one of those types of gateways where you have to give me your first name and your email address. So it's still technically free to them. They're not actually paying you any cash, but they're giving you some information. And I'll actually see that there is a higher conversion, if you will, with the stuff that's behind that form, because of the fact there's that perceived value that they're giving you something in exchange for what you're giving them. It's not just something that's out on your website. So yeah, another good example I think is going to college. Think about the people who are there who are paying out of their own pocket, versus people who are there on a free ride from either a scholarship or financial aid. I mean, I went to college on financial aid, and I saw other people there at my college on financial aid that it just didn't seem to be as important to them as those who were, having to physically come out of pocket and make payments towards their own education. They just seemed to value it more because of the fact that it was their money they were spending.
What about you? What about you when you are given something and when you pay for it? Do you have a different mindset when you accept it and when you go to use it?
I personally definitely have a different mindset. So,
Mike?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, if I'm paying for something, I'm gonna apply whatever it is that I'm paying. Like, for example, I buy plugins all the time for my WordPress sites, and as soon as I download them, I'm already thinking, okay, now where can I use this? Where can I use this? Because just allowing your money to that you spend to just sit there, it just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Okay, so let's take it back to about the reading and about, Chuck, monetary accountability. So the whole point of the reading was acquiring knowledge and knowing, which I guess can be a skill, the research to discern which is going to give me the best knowledge to move forward. And what I loved about the reading, what really pulled out for me was that it is exactly the same as what's happening today, except we called it a recession. Back in the 1930s and 40s, it was correspondence schools where you could get specialized education.
Yeah.
Today, it's Udemy. It's Khan Academy.
Lynda.com.
Lynda.com. I can go to MIT right now, and I have attended a few of their courses online. Stanford University, Coursera is one that aggregates those type of classes for specialized training. And some are relatively cheap, especially on Udemy. But even then, you're still paying something. And some aren't so cheap. Honestly, the Coursera courses aren't always cheap. Now, my personal experience has been I've gone to an MIT class online that was free. And essentially it was very similar to if I were in person auditing the class. I didn't get credit for it, but I got the knowledge. And I can tell you that personally, I fell off track in following the courses. But when I paid $12 at Udemy, I'm all over it.
Yeah, agreed.
That is that's what I'm reacting to here, is that when I pay to be a part of something, I have expectations of what I'm going to get, but I also have expectations of what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to put more effort because I've paid for it. What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ahead.
I'm sorry about this, Sabrina. I was going to say definitely, because even Sabrina mentioned it as you were talking about the online courses with Udemy and stuff. She mentioned YouTube. I mean, how many people have actually gone over to YouTube to try to learn something? And I mean, myself personally, I've got about halfway through a video and I just lose interest. Even though it's something that I really need to know, I'm just like, okay, this is not worth my time. And then I'll switch over to somewhere else and I'll actually have to pay them a little bit of my pocket money. And they'll give me exactly what it is I need to know. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I paid the money. I've learned what I need to know. Now let me get my butt off my chair here and actually go out and apply what I've just learned, because it's money that I've spent for something. Hey, Sean.
I don't know. Well, Sabrina, you just put out a...
Sabrina's so cute.
You are
I think it really pertains to the conversation at the moment. I go to YouTube because I want to find something that's quick and easy that I need to, I need a 3-second fix on. I don't go to YouTube for any actual training. So if I'm looking for something where I really need to learn, or I need some specialized training, it's not YouTube, which is free. I go somewhere where I'm paying for it, lynda.com or one of the places that you guys are talking about. So I think this paragraph kind of says to that too, speaks to that.
Yes.
Well, and I had another dimension to add into that, using YouTube. Because I kind of feel the same way as Michael was sharing. If I need to learn something, I might go to YouTube, but I'll get partway through it, especially considering so many people put these long, it's like, I want to give me a 10-minute video. I just need to learn this one thing. I don't want to hear about your life story and all this other stuff. I want to, give me the data and let me get.
Okay, but wait a second. Now, if you're watching something free.
But the extra, but.
Go ahead.
But the extra dimension I was going to say is there's the extra value of, like, for example, I was contracted to do a tile job, and I wasn't familiar with doing tile. Now that training I watched all the way through.
Yeah.
Because
twice, right?
There was skin in the game. I wasn't paying for the training, but I knew that payment in the job.
See, and that's what Mike was alluding to.
So there there was still skin in the game.
That's because of the reward you were looking to get, right? The positive impact, and that's what Mike was alluding to when he talked about the financial aid. He had also just brought up that in the same instance, he was seeing those who were given a free ride that they weren't taking things as seriously. And I think that one of the statements that just keeps going through my head is that we're still human beings, and the same still applies today in 2015 as it did in 1930s. That we respect ourselves and others when we see that somebody's worked for it or paid for it. But even then, not even just the pay for it. We tend to work at it when we've got some type of payment involved. And meaning that we're getting a lot of feedback on the comments. This is for the recording. That don't discount financial aid. And don't say that it's a blanket statement is what I'm reading into what I'm seeing over there. And I won't, because to me financial aid often includes loans, and you have to pay those back.
Yes, it does.
And when you pay those back, trust me, when I went back to school and I'm watching the 25-year-old look at the statement that says her payment's going to be $260 a month, she went in absolute panic because she didn't realize that when she signed for the loans. And trust me, she started working harder. She learned more in that last couple of quarters than she had up to that point. And it wasn't that she got the grades. She learned more because she knew she was going to have to apply what she learned in order to pay this back. You see? So it suddenly became important to her. And the value of what she was learning, the value of her being there was greater. It increased. And I think that's what the teaching from this reading is that if I'm going to seek out specialized knowledge, what am I willing to give in return for that knowledge? Because it's going to stick with me, and it's going to be helpful to me more if I give something in return. So if I give something in terms of money, if I give something in terms of setting aside that time, because he states that too. I mean, I respect people who have gone out of their way to their spare time. You got family, so you've got you don't even have a single mom. You got a family, and mom wants to go back to school so that she can get a specialized education because she wants to do something that she held off doing. So what she does is, amidst the family life and the commitments that she has, is through online and through the local community college. In her spare time, she attends a class, and in her spare time, of which she makes time, because she does it on purpose, right? And she learns what she needs to do so that she can move forward with her dream and what her desires are. So, again, the specialized knowledge.
Right, and that adds that extra level because...
Go ahead.
Is the stereotype bears out that typically, the trust fund kids or the kids that are on scholarships or on their parents' dime, and they're not like the example you shared where they know they got a payment.
Oh yeah, it's on their parents' dime. Look how many of those finish it.
Well, it's not even.
Right. So the stereotype typically bears out, but like everything else, stereotypes are not blanket truth.
That's true.
Because like you were saying, if there's a determination, you can have somebody who's like, yes, this is the school I want to go to. This is the training I want because this is what I want, and so I have this definite purpose. I need this training, and then they'll apply it. Because I when I went to my college, I was 40-something with a lot of just out of high school kids, and some were lackadaisical and didn't give a damn, and others, busted their butts, took notes, worked hard to get their grades. And so
what about how about specialized knowledge? Because that's what Napoleon Hill is saying that we need today, as we needed in the 30s, that the blanket liberal arts Universe. Well, I mean, what is it we say to each other? I've said this. I've said this to myself when I see somebody who just got her master's in fine arts. Yes, a family member just did that, and I'm thinking, and you have no intentions of leaving your job at the retail store that you've been working yourself through college with.
So
because there aren't any jobs. So, I'm not going to discount the value of knowledge and the value of education. I'm not going to discount that.
Oh, you can't. Absolutely not.
I can't. I'm a lover of knowledge. I'm a lover of education. I firmly believe that you have to know. You have to have knowledge and education. What this piece of the book is talking about, though, is the discernment and that you're going to go out. You're in a situation now and you want to change it, and you've made set forth what your goal is, right? Where you want to be different. Well, what you know now isn't going to cut it. So we need to go out and find the education and the knowledge and the skills, learn them so that we can move forward, so that we can grow financially, emotionally, mentally, and all that stuff. That's what I'm getting out of that.
I think another point is you need the specialized knowledge to grow and to accumulate wealth. However, I think that the people that go find the specialized knowledge, I think part of the point here is that they're always seeking knowledge in some form.
Yes. The one who stops learning stops growing.
Stop.
Yes.
The one who stops.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the part where he even goes on and talks about the I'm trying to remember what the type of training. It was the second type of training that he was talking about, where he was saying that like the continuing education type of stuff, even after you've got your training, there's still going to be continuous additional training you're going to need. And it kind of reminds me of when I used to be certified as a personal trainer. I thought, okay, I'm certified as a personal trainer. It's good for 2 years. Now what do I have to do to maintain this certificate, if you will? And they actually told me you had to take all this extra classes, continuing education classes. And I was like, okay, and is that free? And no, it wasn't free, but once I paid for one and actually tried it, and I saw the value in the fact that, yes, I just shelled out $49. I probably could have used for something else, but the knowledge was like $149 worth of actual value.
Uh-huh.
And then of course I accumulated enough, and I renewed my certification. And then after that, I ended up letting it go because I found out that just wasn't enough money in that particular market. So I had to learn a new skill and go in a different direction.
Exactly.
But yeah, you never stop learning.
So it's been interesting that another point brought out, which was specific about the reading, is the apprenticeship programs. And I equate that with our internships that happen today. Now, locally, I find it discouraging how many students aren't willing to be an intern because they don't pay enough.
Well, I think that's that new generational thing we've got going.
And
people think they're owed a living now.
I'm not going to even go there. I'm just saying, for me, thanks for the contribution. Yes.
Yeah.
But I have offered internships where in actuality, what they would have learned, they would have been able to open up a very specialized boutique agency themselves, much less, that would have been the top if they really glommed on to everything that I was willing to teach because I needed a partner. I needed things to happen here. And I needed tactical assistance. So I was willing to train you from the beginning, right? As to the whys and the wherefores and the how-tos and everything else. And, had you gone through my internship, you would have been definitely prepared to become a part of the digital marketing team of any corporation. No interest. And I ran into some college students because I'm often brought in as a guest speaker and see them later and what have you. And someone will mention it, saying, well, if I had known that that's what I would have learned. And all I can say is if you had read that which I posted, it's not my fault that you didn't take advantage of it, and the opportunity is now closed. The other thing that I want to say about apprenticeships is the trade unions are absolutely spot on perfect with offering apprenticeships to prepare the skilled laborer, could take you from unskilled to skilled laborer to specialized skill within a 2-year time frame. Usually it includes on-the-job training as well as schooling and specialized training at the facilities offered by the union, that now you're prepared and worthy of getting paid the higher rates because you're bringing the specialized skill to the job. So taking a laborer to journeyman, to taking a framer to a master carpenter, not only is the on the job and being mentored by somebody who's been assigned to you, but getting the formal schooling while it's happening. I think they've got that in spades, quite honestly. And it's pretty much from what I've seen across the board on the trade unions. There's a great value in apprenticeships.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it just surprises me the number of people I've actually offered to essentially be a mentor. And I say, I'm a professional web designer. You don't even have to even know how to turn a freaking computer on. I will teach you that.
Mm-hmm.
And teach you how
and they don't show up.
And I won't get anyone to show up. But on the other end of the spectrum, when I get people who want my services, they'll say, well, I'm willing to exchange, or can you do this for free? And I'm like, how about you come on board, be my mentor, let me be your mentor, spend a couple of months underneath me, you learn how to actually do this, and then you can go ahead and build your own freaking website.
Right.
For yourself as well as for other people.
So here's an interesting crossroads, right? We value that which we pay for when it comes to learning so that we can move forward with something, just in humans, right? We don't value the skill set or the services of somebody else.
Agreed.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're hearing.
As a web developer, I have the same thing happen. I'll have somebody call me and say, I don't have anybody to maintain my website, and I need a couple of changes on it, and it should only take a half hour. And I always say to them, well, if it should only take a half hour, you should be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and it happens everywhere. I don't know how many times I've been asked, the worst thing you can say to me is, I'll buy you a cup of coffee because I need to pick your brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spend a lot of
coffee,
money.
But not that much. I'm not going to pay
a lot of money
that much for coffee. Really, that's what goes through my head.
I was going to say it'd have to be a really good cup of coffee.
We're talking the stuff that it was David that said, the real Italian cappuccino flown in fresh that morning and made specially with my name on it. How's that?
There you go.
Yeah. So again, what is it that we value and why? So another thing, I'm going to go back to the shouting words that what was interesting to me is that he put this in context of the correspondence schools, which I put as the equivalent of attending e-courses today.
Right.
And that it's their collection department, that which makes me pay, that gives the best training ever on decision, promptness, action, and ultimately what I'm seeing here, the habit of finishing that which one begins. So I am more inclined to finish if I've paid for it, because there's my expectation that's set up when I'm seeking a specific skill or knowledge for a reason. And in today's world, it's related to building my business. It's related to building myself, self-improvement, because I know that if I have this, something will be better. I will be better. My business will be better. And if I pay for it, I'm going to stay to the end because I don't want to miss anything because I paid for it. And I want to make sure that I'm getting my money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my expectation going in.
Also, one of the important points, I think, is that the book really is reading to that specialized training or education. And I think one of the points is that it's available to everybody now because of the online opportunities and the schools that are online. You can go get what you need for a fraction of the price to change your financial situation. You don't have to go to Pepperdine anymore. You can get online and get it. And I might be throwing Pepperdine out there as just,
it's a cool
crazy
name.
Yeah, it is. One of my nephews just went there, so it's on the top of my head. But
it just rolls right off. It's and again, I don't want to disparage formal education. I don't want to. I have it myself. I'm grateful that I have it. I honestly, I'm one of those that was the A student that academics was I was thrilled to be there. I love learning. I love getting into it and finding out the whys and wherefores and everything else. But I also was one of those that didn't have, and this was interesting to me when he was noting that those who have the extra sets, the extra skill set, which is social skills, personability, character, they were well liked. They cared about other people and showed it on campus, that sort of thing. That did not describe me. I had to learn those skills way after. Well into my 30s and my 40s. I had to learn the social skills. I had to learn how to express my compassion and care for others. I had to learn it. So I sought it. I sought somebody to teach me, and am forever grateful that I've had people willing to guide me. So again, I don't want to disparage that, but I think that between Sabrina, Mike, and those in the comment area, I think we're all in agreement that in today's world, same as it was in the 30s, same as it was in the 1800s, 1700s, where people are people, we tend to value that which we pay for.
Yes. And I think the other point is that the specialized learning is knowledge needed to change your financial situation is available.
Yes.
Go get it.
Absolutely.
All you have to do is go get it. It's there.
It's like Napoleon Hill said, the correspondence course is available to anybody that the U.S. mail delivers.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I like the part in this reading where they talk about the age, and people say that I'm too old to go.
Yeah, he got that one down, didn't he?
I went and entered into the fitness department, which is back in 2001, which was after my mom passed away. And I was 135 pounds before she passed away. I was 295 pounds afterwards. Because it was just before Thanksgiving. And I was going into the college at 295 pounds into a freaking fitness program. And I felt bad until I got into my one class, and there was a guy in there that was 70 years old going for fitness. So, if a 70-year-old
it's inspiring, wasn't it?
If a 70-year-old guy can say, you know what, I need to change, and he's willing to get up and actually withstand any criticism that might come to him because of the fact that, he's an older gentleman and people might make fun of that. I said, the hell with what people think. Go get the education. But yeah, I was also just going to interject here and say I have both sides of the fence with regards to the formal education. I have a college degree, but I also have learning from the school of Google, and the school of Google. So I'm not trying to knock formal education, because I totally and completely support that. If that's something that you want to do, go ahead and do that. But if you're in a situation where you just physically can't go and attend college classes, I see nothing wrong with going out and seeking out those people who know what you are trying to learn on the internet, and follow them, read what it is they have to offer for free, as well as signing up for any classes that they might have to offer. Right. That might, especially those that are video based. If they're video based and it's not one where, you have only 24 hours to get in and actually watch the video, but you can actually watch it at your leisure, people will actually be more likely to get in when they have the free time to go in and actually learn something.
So again, you have the ambition, right?
Oh,
And that's one of the
Oh, yeah.
keys that's pointed out in the reading is that you're ambitious. You want to make a change. You want to be different than what you were yesterday. Want to change the circumstances you're in right now. What's it going to take? You know, I'm going to take us back to my major definite purpose, which is I've got the dollar amount that I'm going to have in hand by a specific date. I've got the plan now because it's been presented to me. And that which I'm going to do in exchange for the dollar amounts to get me to the dollar amount that I anticipate having. And that is my goal for that specific date. I got the plan set out. It involved my getting some specialized knowledge. And I had to seek out some people, just as you were describing, Mike. I sought out some people that I was willing to pay them to train me. You tell me how you did this. You tell me, you lay out how this was done. Some of it was specialized courses. Some of it was specialized extensions of webinars and things like that. So all of it has contributed to my finally reaching the point about a year ago where I got it and said, it's time to move forward. And what we're doing here is cementing it on a regular basis. And I'm growing leaps and bounds. I don't know that anybody can see that, but honestly, I am. And it's
but
because
you can see that.
I can see that. I can feel
isn't
it.
that really all that counts?
That is what counts. That's why I'm here.
And your bank account will see that.
It is. It already is. And
Yes.
it's because focused attention on my definite purpose, which is what these mornings have been helping me to do. So I thank everybody for participating in that. And I hope you're getting just as much out of it as I am. But I found that I paid and I had my expectations. Most of the time they were met and sometimes they weren't, but I was able to shrug it off, realizing that there's another place I can get it. I can't blanket stamp any type of the continuing education.
I still do that. When there's something I need, I have a list of people that I know can provide me with those services. And I call them and I'll say, hey, this is what I need, and I'm willing to pay you, of course, to do the work because this is what you do. But I want you to show me how to do this. And I want you just to do it for me. And I know Michael Mann knows that because I've done that to him. You need to show me how to do this.
Yeah, she's put me on the hot seat a time or two.
Well, and that's like, I'm going to take us a little bit further. And we had originally started out talking about this reading in terms of paying for our services, right? And so payment in exchange for services to be done for us. And I wonder just how much of that really is. I completely lost my train of thought.
Whoops.
So I just wonder, and now I'm going to wander over to my coffee and see if that doesn't help to get me back on track. See what happens. Chuck, I can't believe you just said that. Chuck, thank you. And from, are you part of the peanut gallery now?
Hey, Chuck, what are you doing?
Shares. I'm not an expert, but I did stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. That is priceless. Thank you. Oh, that was good. Amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they cannot get it wrong.
True story, that.
Wow, I like that. Yes, I'm glad I made you laugh, Monty. I think that's not my job this morning, but all right, if that's the side benefit somebody gets from it, woohoo, right? Yeah. No, the thought still hasn't come back, so it must not have been that important. So
yeah, but I was just gonna say, Charlene, I like how you were saying earlier. It's about. I know myself, I'm a Reiki master teacher, so I do the whole metaphysical stuff as well as the web design stuff. And for me, I like the term that we tend to use as rather than saying currency and money, we like to call it energy exchange. And I like what you were saying earlier about sometimes it's maybe it's not just the fact that you're handing over actual cash to somebody in exchange for learning something, but it may be just the fact that you have to actually physically be somewhere and actually devote certain amount of hours of your time learning something, and just simply being there in that situation of having to actually be there to learn what someone is trying to teach you.
Well, yeah,
like,
because it gets you very, very focused when you're in that environment. Is that, there's that energy that everybody is there, especially when you're surrounded by adults and an adult education setting of any sort. We're all there for the same purpose. Do not interrupt me. Do not ask extraneous questions. Do not go off on some shiny object here, because none of us really care about that. We are here to be dedicated. So yeah, there's great value in that. Great value.
Somebody told me one time, if you continually chase shiny objects, you will never get anywhere.
Well, that's true, because you don't finish anything.
Yeah, you never finish anything. You're looking for the next shiny coin that's down the road, and you just keep going.
Now, one other thing, and I'm going to go back to the paying for knowledge, is where it says near the end of the reading for today, it pays to know how to purchase knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes in. Now we come into how do we discern the best place to get our knowledge. And I think that sometimes it's trial and error because of the opportunities that are presented to us through the internet. I think that it's good to have that inner circle of people that I can go to bounce it off of them first, and to say, this is what I'm looking at doing. Can you guide me on where I should go to learn it? What should I do next? Who should I go to? Like your thoughts on that.
I'm sorry, I was typing in the chat.
Yeah, we're all typing in the chat.
If you're going to type in the chat, empty the seat. All right, you're here to talk.
Okay, can you just repeat that last part? Just one more
for help, come join us. Come on in.
Can I get a helpline, a phone a friend or something?
Oh, you guys are so funny. Shiny objects. You don't want to go after it. You want to. How do you find out? How do you find out? Because he says it pays to know how to purchase knowledge. So knowing how to purchase knowledge, which to me is indicative of I need to go someplace to find out where I'm going to purchase that knowledge. A lot of times what happens is people just jump on the headline and that's all, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm trying to get it back on track. I'm really trying. And you've got a fresh cup of coffee, Eric.
Hey, there's Eric. Hey, Eric.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I heard a lot of laughter going on in here, so I had my coffee.
Good. Glad you joined us.
Come prepared.
I'm going to jump out so that we have an open seat. Good to see you, Eric.
Sabrina.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Nice to
Good
meet you,
stuff,
Michael.
Sabrina. Thank you.
On the topic of education, though, as a software developer, I guess in the 90s, we saw a lot of kids coming out of schools that just, they weren't really interested in being software developers, but they went through the schooling and they spent all the money, but they didn't have a passion for it. And frankly, the only thing that the school at that point, even back then, was going to give you was maybe a foundation, but not bring you up to what you're going to need in the real world. And if you didn't have a passion for it, you weren't going to make it. And we found that over and over again. There were some schools that may have, we had MIT close by. We got students from there and Stanford. But aside from that, it was really a sad, they weren't learning anything about programming. And so, we had an internship program, and the ones that we found, we didn't care what school they came from. The ones that we found that had a passion, that wanted to be developers, we asked them about their previous project, and they got excited about it. Those were the people we put in the internship program because we knew they would get through them, and they would make and they knew there was, at the end of the road, they would make a lot of money because we would hire them then, and they would go out, and so it was a fantastic program. It was really hard to find quality developers at the time. It probably still is today, and that was a great program for them and for us, for someone that really had a passion and may not have had an opportunity to go to school. But so that was my real first experience with internships, was bringing in people that were passionate and not paying them very much.
Well, that's just it. They were passionate about it. Those are the ones. And I think it goes to what Napoleon Hill was describing about the fella or the gal. I mean, we have to look at the times. It's all about men then. Right now, it doesn't matter. So male or female, the one who has the additional attributes other than just the knowledge, because you have the straight A student, that was me, but with lacking social skills and inability to share my passion for anything. So if you combine that, you've got the CB student who's got the foundation and is ambitious and wants to continue to learn and is teachable, trainable, coachable, and excited about, like you just described, Eric, what was that last project you were on? And they light up. That's all, they can't wait to talk about.
You're hired.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that when I've been a guest lecturer and when I've taught at the local colleges here, especially around social media. The excitement was initially, you could see the difference. The excitement of the students was that, oh yeah, it's social media, and they were ready to get out their devices.
Right.
And then I'd say, so we're going to talk about social media marketing, and you won't be getting on social media right now because it's marketing. So we're going to talk about how you identify who you're going to talk to, what kind of messaging you're going to have, and everybody just, but you always had one or two that said, oh yeah, that's the whole point. That's what I'm here for. Anyway, yes.
I had a recent intern. I wouldn't even have thought to take on an intern, but she was from Australia and she was so passionate about wanting to do this. She was willing to fly over here, spend a few months here learning about this, and I was like, all right, if you're going to go through all that, let's do it. Now she's making a lot of money back in Australia. Now she spent 3 months here, and we work together every day. I wish she stayed because she became an invaluable asset. And that's one of the things I think is a problem with the internship program is when they leave, right? You don't want to spend the time, and you see that I've seen in other companies where they get interns and they do all the grunt jobs that nobody wants to do, but they're not really training them. They're not investing their time in them because they know they're going to go off and do something else. And so I think a lot of people get turned off by that as an internship program. And whereas if you get something out of it and it's a potential job, I think that's a much better type program. But they can't promise a job or any of these, all these rules that get put in where,
well, and now we're going to talk about government regulations and corporations because the rules. Okay.
I don't want to. I will go on a rant about that. So
yeah, please, because I think we all could.
Yeah, I mean, you see what it did to the schools, right?
Let's stick with the reading, which says it doesn't matter that you went to free public school, right? What matters is that you want to continue to learn and are willing to learn the specialized skill in order to get the job. And sometimes that means you're going to have to pay extra. You're going to have to take yourself to a vocational school. You're going to have to. Shop class was the beginning in high school. Shop class was the best class ever for those who wanted to build things and learn how to make things. The makers of our country, the creatives that wanted to put that design in their head into a physical product. But they couldn't do that in shop. They were limited by the equipment there and their own, you have to have the foundations. So, the vocational school that allowed them to go from shop class or from home ec into the vocational school to expand on that. And I know many who have gone from there to additional specialized trainings because that's what they love to do. That's who they are and what they love to do. Same thing applies to those who absolutely love statistics. There's nothing better than sitting with a business analyst who, once again, I can, he's Stan, I believe, is, I hope he doesn't watch this. He'll know who I'm talking about. He's a good guy. I think he's, I'll just stick with Stan. I believe he is late 50s, early 60s, and he's continually purchasing additional education. And then there's Bill. Bill is, he's past retirement age. I know he's close to 70, and he's putting himself through college so that he wants to study quantum physics. And I said, I love you, Bill. Love your brain. So, he's always learning, always because he wants to learn, but he also knows that it expands his mind and it gives him more to talk about with other people, and it's exercise, and it's, keeps him active, and it makes him that much better when he's, if you're going to love this, when he's selling cars. Yeah.
Sanchit actually has a really good point here, and that was something actually I was going to touch on, which is the cost of the education and what you're going to do. I was lucky enough to live in New York City. You have all the best schools there, and I would periodically go take a course, but it wasn't even the cost of the course; it was the time and just the value that I got out of each class. It was built to be like 12 weeks. It could have been compressed into 2 hours of on hand. Let's get this stuff done. So then you go out to a conference, spend $2,000, which was certainly maybe more money, but in one day your mind exploded, and by the second day you were exhausted. And you're like, no more. I can't take it. I have to go back to the office now and start doing some of this stuff. It's so cool. And so when you start adding that value into the education, I stopped going. I started just conferences. I would do all the conferences. I would do these smaller engagements where they were just going to pour it on. Microsoft would get
they were better suited. They were better suited to what you were looking for to learn, so that you could immediately apply.
I need this. This is the information I need, and that's why I would go to school.
That's why that's why my workshops were so successful. I'm going to be starting them up again. It's because they're very focused. You're going to learn the skill. You're going to learn the platform. You're going to do it while we are together. You will do it, and then you will have homework. And then when you leave, you've already been doing it. So now it's a matter of refining and putting it into practice a little deeper with different goals. And so, yes, it's short,
I think in the book,
sweet.
They don't have those types of things available to them like we do today. Today,
that's true.
You have such a wealth of information. Then the schools were where you went to get that thing, or people, but most of those people did. They went to school and learned it in school and got those things.
You're right. We have to remember
frankly,
the time.
have better schools because they had specialized courses. Yeah.
Could be, but I think the principle remains the same: is that if we're going to be successful, if we're going to reach that which is our definite major purpose, that which I have written down and I have read this morning and will read again tonight. This is my goal. This is a dollar amount I want. And this is what I'm going to do in exchange for that. If I am willing to do that much and I want this is my desire, my burning passion, my burning obsession, I have to be willing to attain more knowledge. I have to be willing to purchase it, to make use of it, to participate. That's what I'm getting out of this reading, is that ultimately it's the continuous education. I have to know where, sometimes I'm just going to have to buy it. Oh, well, as was said before, value of what I'm learning versus long-term value of what I get from that learning, and what am I going to get from it. And like you said,
and all those people,
spurts.
all the people in this room are trying to do that now.
Exactly. What can we learn?
I'm getting a lot out of this book that I didn't get the first.
Me too. Me too. All right. So I'm going to shut down in terms of for the recording, and then I can stay for up to an hour. And so I'll keep the room open and we can have whatever kind of discussion we want to take it to. Well, no, we can't. We're going to try to keep it to a reasonable adult conversation related to business and improvement, right?
No argument for me.
Okay, so I want to thank everybody who's joined me this morning. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know, the website www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. It's been a terrific morning of learning about being ambitious and being willing to continue to learn. So I want to encourage you to move forward with today on purpose, with purpose, to grow your hearts, grow your minds, and grow your business. So until next time, have a great